Okay. Welcome back to the second session of Africa is Rising Day. My name is Buyelwa Qundu, and I'll be accompanying you for our next session. We are live streaming directly from the beautiful V&A waterfront here in Cape Town, South Africa. Thank you to Mino Melodies for their great performance during the break. Please post any questions you have for our speakers in the chat box, and we will get to those at the end of the session. Remember to tag Open Design Africa and use our official hashtags when you share on social media, and that's hashtag ODA2020, that's hashtag Open Design Africa, that's hashtag Small is Massive. Now, let's get inspired and learn from the following inspirators as they share their unique stories with us during the second session that will focus on projects that drive sustainability, creating and flourishing environments, and adding significance and meaning to their respective communities. I'd like to welcome our first speaker, who is Jamila Bargach. Can you please excuse me if I'm mispronouncing, just correct me at the end. From Morocco, Jamila Bargach is an activist and a scholar who has dedicated her life to serving under-resourced communities in the southwest of Morocco, creating sustainable initiatives through education and scientific innovation. She is the co-founder of Dar Si Hmad, which operates the largest functioning fog collection project in the world, a system which fosters the independence of amazing women in Ait Baamrane in the Berber region by delivering potable water to their households. Bargach is an anthropologist training with the PhD from Rice University and has taught at University Mohammed V in Rabat. She spent decades as a human rights activist, helping residents in slums and informal communities in Morocco. In 2006, she founded a shelter for women in Casablanca, which she directed until 2016. Next after her will be Ralph Bolland, who's actually sitting with me today. Ralph is an artist, a curator, and an interdisciplinary knowledge worker based in Cape Town, South Africa. His projects, African Robots and SPACECRAFT, are collaborations with streetwire artists in Southern Africa to introduce electronics and mechanics to their practice. The monumental electronic mechanical music making spaceship sculpture Dubship 1, the Black Starliner, was launched at the Zeitz MoCA in 2019. In 2020, Ralph Bolland's studio completed 2 public artworks for the city of Cape Town. Ralph has a degree in fine art from the University of Cape Town and a master's in interactive telecommunications from New York University. Our third speaker today is going to be Musunguzi Mark Musementa from Uganda. Creativity has driven Mark to found HYA Bioplastics, in Africa's first biotechnology startup that's fully focused on developing biodegradable packaging from re-engineering plant fibers. Mark is a mechanical engineer that's extremely passionate about creating and delivering sustainable changing products in the hands of millions of people. He is currently based in Kampala, Uganda. During his third year at the Makiri University, he founded a startup called Wet Technique that saw an opportunity to effectively treat and recycle wastewater using nature-based constructed wetland technologies. He was able to pilot these systems in various locations across Uganda, and this has provided a much needed low-cost wastewater treatment solution. Next up, we will have the 3 speakers. We have Jamila, Ralph, and Musingizi. Oh, hi, Jamila.
Hi.
Hi, how are
Hi.
you today?
I'm fine, and yourself?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Welcome all the way from Morocco. Please take it
Yeah,
away from
yeah.
us.
It's
Yes.
beautiful. All right. I'm sorry, I'm kind of a little trying to still continue accessing something else, but everybody can hear me. I am being
Yes.
seen and heard, right?
Yes. I can hear you. I
Wonderful.
can see
So
you. I think everyone can hear you and see you as well.
wonderful. I have
Amazing.
sent the presentation yesterday. I wonder if the technical folks can put it up and I will go through it. And first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for inviting me for the Rise Africa design. This is beautiful. Um, Opportunity to speak about things that are done in our continent, things that usually are not given too much attention, unfortunately. Um, Let me share my screen with you.
Yes, please. You can share your screen, please.
Yes, on
Fantastic.
it. I'm sorry, but I'm a little bit incompetent as far as
Oh no.
technology is
Let's
concerned.
not say incompetent. Let's just say you're learning. You'll see it at the bottom of the screen. It'll be green. It'll
It
say
has
share
been all
screen.
right.
Yes.
Sorry about this.
No
Let me
worries.
share screen. Here it is. All right. So I will share my screen with you and I will make it into the large screen. Can everybody see my screen? Hello?
Yes, it's just your name from that I can see at the moment, not any
Oh, all
content.
right. Well, my screen is shared and it is, sorry about this. It is here. Oh, right here. It's normal. You only saw my name. All right. So here is my screen. Um, right here, and I am going into um, the present motion. Um, so let me just start by saying that the way we have been thinking in the organization, and I will speak a little bit about the organization, about this project, is we've been calling it drinking fog, harvesting fog. I mean, it has all kind of ways, different labels, but essentially it is harvesting the water that's within the fog droplets that come to this region and use it as a source for water availability to the communities and water resilience. And we are Association Dar Si Hmad for Development, Education and Culture, and we're based way in the south of Morocco, which is generally, and when compared to the northern part, much poorer and much more marginalized. So the problem that we have in the southern region of Morocco is an increase in desertification. And this increase in desertification, with the Sahara coming into this region, with the impact of climate change, we have a serious decline in rainfall through the last decades. And we've had an increase in the frequency and intensity of droughts, have led to, of course, environmental problems, but also social consequences, with mass migration from the villages. And with the mass migration from the villages, of course, there are social impacts, which are loss of knowledge. The folks go into situations of poverty, and in the towns, and the migration has other effects. I'm not going to go into that, but the solution, and it is a local solution, it is a small scale solution, always with the idea of designing the small scale and the impactful, is fog harvesting. And fog is extremely abundant in this region of the world for a number of climatic reasons, because we're close to the sea, and there is the currents, the Azores currents, and the fog harvesting technology has been practiced for the longest time. But it has also gone through a series of thinking and sophistication that have made it more optimal. And this is where the design comes in. And so right now we're in the process of expanding the project. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of a larger situation so that you understand where we are. We are in the southern part, as I said, of Morocco right here. We are in Sidi Ifni, but we are a little bit further inland. Where we work is the entail of the High Atlas Mountains. And right after the High Atlas Mountains, right here in Betmesgida, all this region right here is actually a desert. It is the beginning of the Sahara. And this place, this picture is where we work. As you can see, it has been pretty much deforested. A lot of trees have been cut through the last century for livelihood reasons, and they have been replaced today by a lot of these prickly pear, that cactus that you see here, which actually is interesting because right now it has been infected for the last couple of years with a new disease. So usually the fog comes through this region here by the beach, by the sea, the Atlantic Ocean, travels through the inland, and as it travels through inland, it gathers more momentum and it becomes thicker. And that's what we call in the literature for fog, for folks who are working on fog, is actually called the fog seas. And then once it gets to the height of the mountain, and we are located at 1,225 meters of altitude, then it just stays there and we are able to harvest it. I also wanted to include some pictures speaking about the consequences of the droughts. As you can see in this first picture right here, what we have are remnants of old agriculture patterns. Folks for centuries have lived in these regions, and they have been able to adapt their techniques and design the techniques to use the contemporary word of design to the local conditions. Right now, most of these, if not all, have been totally abandoned, as the villages have been absolutely, well, almost half emptied of their population. In the last census of 2004, these region where we work used to have over 30,000 folks living within these villages. We have about 328 villages that we have done the census of. And today we're speaking of villages that are pretty much abandoned, with probably a couple to 4 households staying within villages that used to have about 20 to 30 households. So you see the decrease in the number of population has been extremely important, and the reasons are largely tied to environmental conditions. So the women before the project were used to walk within these excuse me, but I've had used to walk for a number of hours, up to 4 hours to get the water. And the water wells have been desiccated because of the lack of rain. However, this technique for fog harvesting, as I said, has been in place for the longest time, but thanks to sophistication and new ways of doing the work, we are able to harvest the fog. And I wanted to illustrate with this very small film that shows you the process, and I will explain it a little bit more. It's just 15 seconds. So the fog comes and it is pushed by the wind, and as it's pushed by the wind, it sticks to the nets, and these are the nets that are illustrated in this film are old nets. We don't use them anymore, but it's the same principle. And then they slide down and we gather them, and then they become a water source. Excuse me. All right, let me go to the next slide. So I wanted to speak a little bit about the history of the project. So we started the design of the fog collection initiative as early as 2006, where we put observation nets on top of the mountain. And we did a lot of observation because fog, like any sentient being, any sentient element, like the wind or the rain, is alive and changes, and it changes its behavior because of the external conditions. And right now, as some of you may know, that with the warming of the oceans, it has affected the cold currents. So we wanted to make sure that we could, with any sense of predictability, know that the fog is available to be harvested. So we started observing in 2006, and usually the way that the fog scientists decide that a site is good for harvesting or not is by having a minima of 5 liters per 1 square meter of nets, like these nets that I have right here. So if 1 meter has 5 liters, then it is good. Now, for our observation, we had actually 10 liters in 1 square meter. And so it took us quite a lot of time to be able to gather the funds to get the interest into the project. And we started building some 4 years later in 2011. And we launched the building of the project, and we did a first generation of fog collectors that were designed by a Canadian NGO called Fox Quest, which is also our partner. However, the fog collectors could not withstand the wind that is in the site of Boutmezguida. These right here are the fog collectors, and I invite you to go to our website, and you can see all this information because it is available with illustrative pictures. So we did all these efforts, and then in 2015, when we launched the project with the old the fog collectors, we were met with a lot of labor because we needed to tend to the nets that were tearing all the time. However, one of our funders had a German organization that works in fog called the Water Foundation, the Wasserstiftung, and we partnered with them in 2014, and then we did host the first cloud fishers that were tried and followed and observed in our site. And in 2018, we have built 1,700 square meters of these new nets that were named by the inventor cloud fishers. And today we have 16 villages, that is a total of 125 households, 27 households drinking fog water. And right now, I mean, just this past week, we are in the process of expanding the project to include a new site, not only the site that we have right now, the mountain called Boutmezguida, but adding a new site and connecting eventually new villages, because there is a need for that. So I wanted also to put this beautiful picture that shows you a little bit where we are on top of the mountain, and all of these elements that you see here are actually the cloud fishers that are on top. The impact of the project from 2015 to 2020 have been multiple, of course, on the animal, on the flock. These are herding communities who, because of droughts, used to sell their animals when there is no water for the animals to drink, driving them into further poverty. Now the animals are kept. Animals drink even fog water. We always joke on this, that the animals are also drinking Perrier water because fog water is absolutely pure. The schools have remained open. Community members have come back to their villages. And this region is known for its honey production. Bees are able to survive right now. And live within at least the villages that we're servicing. There is, and we've been talking with the apiculturers to create possibilities for them to market their bees, their honey, because it's a high quality honey. However, and as we're dealing with fog as a living entity, again, I always say this as a living entity, I wanted to give you an idea very quick about what fog collection is. Fog collection has a history, and we know from some of the literature of the 15th century that actually the travelers from Spain to the Americas stopped by the Canary Islands that are close by Morocco. We are about 300 kilometers away from us. And they discovered that the Guanchos, who were the original inhabitants of these islands, were actually using this dragon tree to gather their water needs, because the islands have no source of water other than fog or whatever water has been stored. So that was the first documented way of gathering fog water. And the Guanchos had a regime of water about distribution, and they had a guard. And the literature about this is actually absolutely fascinating. Then, we kind of quickly come back to the 20th century, where actually some of the major experiments of fog collection were done actually in South Africa. The first one was done in 1969. And then ideas about fog collection went from the fog collector, which is this one that has a Rachel mesh, and that's the illustration I showed you. And then now we have a new and a different way of gathering water, which is the cloud fisher, that has a 3D, and I will show you an image of the 3D, because it gives us more possibility of getting more water droplets, more molecules out of fog. And there is a lot of research and ideas and discussion among the fog communities about a dynamic harvesting system, which poses a lot of questions, because it will be then again an extractive technology. And right now, within the situation of the world where we are questioning these extractive technologies of the human beings and taking everything for us and not leaving any water for the other living and sentient being, there is discussion about this, whether it should be followed or not. But there is the ideas that we can cool the fog to be able to get even more water out of fog. So this is the picture I wanted to show you of the cloud fisher details that we're using in our site. It has the 3D mesh, and the 3D mesh will, like a honeycomb, will get either the first or second or third level of the fog as it traverses it. And again, as I said, we are in the process of continuing to expand. However, the expansion has its pros, has its cons. The pros is that we're able to give more water to more communities, because there's a serious situation of lack of water and water scarcity. And it is mostly the women who bear the brunt of the water scarcity. And at the same time, the cons is that we don't want to fall into the idea of just growing and growing while compromising the life of other forms of life, if we're taking all the fog from the water from the fog.
Amazing.
These are some of the points around the world that are known to have what I have called earlier fog seas, and in most of them there are actually fog projects. However, we are the largest fog functioning project in the world right now.
That's incredible, Jamila. That's absolutely incredible. I love that this is also driven by women, and women are also being impacted the most by this, and also gaining the most from this incredible project. Thank you so much for that incredible presentation. If you have any questions for Jamila, please pop them in the question box below and ask away about this incredible project that's happening in Morocco. And right about now, we have our next speaker. His name is Ralph Bolland, and he'll be joining us now. Ralph, please take it away.
Thank you very much. Great. So I'm going to be talking about my project, African Robots. And if the tech team can line up my presentation, I'm not sure if I'm going to be on the camera here or not. Let's see. But maybe it's just the presentation.
Yeah, let's see what the tech team decides.
Okay.
The powers that be.
All right.
There we go.
Are you ready? Great. So I was born here in Cape Town and grew up here and in Zimbabwe. And I studied fine art as an undergraduate, majoring in sculpture. And I did my master's at New York University in a creative electronics program where I learned to program microchips and work with simple electronics. And I did my PhD at Trinity College Dublin, looking at design for the developing world. And I developed critical perspectives on what it means to design for developing world contexts. Since then, I've done some more academic work at UCT, looking at North-South knowledge inequalities. But my real passion project is African Robots, in which I engage with street wire artists in Southern Africa. So I'm going to give you a bit of background to that project, which started about 7 years ago. So this photograph on screen now is of a wire car that I made when I was about 14 years old or so. A top prize to anybody who can guess what car it is, and I'll give you the answer. It's the Dar Si Hmad, the 2CV Citroen, which I used to see. Someone had one of these cars in Harare when I was living there. And it was an expression of my fascination with what I saw around me, which was kids making wire cars and adults making objects out of wire to sell in the street. So I've been exposed to this from a young age. This is another wire car that I bought in a small town in South Africa, and you can see that it's very simply put together, but it has a lot of character in it. It's made up of partly parts from toy cars as well as wire. And I think they're an expression of some of the most basic and innate artistic urges, which is to represent things in your environment and use your available materials to do so. So I think wire art is this really interesting vernacular art form in Southern Africa. And then just like any art form, you have many levels of skill and complexity. This is an Audi with a sound system inside it, made by Louis Kaluzi, one of the wire artists I work with, who's from Zimbabwe. And you can see it's got a high degree of detail and a good representation of the vehicle. So what wire artists do is they take this very basic material, hardware wires, galvanized steel wire. It's cheap. It comes in these rolls, and what really counts is the hand skill to take this base material and make complex forms like these. So this is a shark for sale in Cape Town. This is a local specialty in Cape Town, these wire art sharks. Cape Town is Shark City, and we have a lot of great whites as well as other sharks here. This is the largest shark. This is Bongani holding a shark that he's made. And this is Farai and Lewis holding a giant shark that they made on commission. And this is in Delft, where they live in Cape Town.
Sure.
And this is the scene. If we can play this short video clip. This video clip just shows a wire artist, Dube Chipangura, in the traffic in Newlands at a traffic intersection, selling his wire art. And, you know, this is the way that many immigrants make a living, many Zimbabwean immigrants, is by making and selling wire art at the traffic lights. I think the interesting thing about it is that it's a form of public art, which comes to the public rather than you going to a gallery. But it's also a hard way to make a living. And there is a lot of overproduction of wire art. So this is a pile of wire art creatures, mainly the big five, and people make animals and birds and flowers. And it's great, but there's a lot of it. what I wanted to do was to introduce new subjects to wire art. So I started with the idea of the starling. The starling is a local bird. This is a portrait of Dube, who worked on it to the left, and then Henrik Nirachka was a Royal College of Art student who interned in my studio and helped me to make this first example of an African robot. This is a red-winged starling, which is a local bird in Cape Town. It often shares the same urban spaces as wire artists, and it's a very clever, nimble bird that we thought would make a good robot. So this is a photograph of the wire art starling that we made. This is a process photograph of how we downloaded a 3D model, made paper patterns to guide the wire art, and then Dube made these parts for the starling. And then we turned to cell phone parts. Like, this is 2013, the Nokia cell phone was still around, and we extracted parts from a Nokia and used them to drive the robots with things like speakers and the battery. And this is a little video of the starling in action. So this is the very first African robot, the STARLING 1.0 from 2013. Flaps its wings, its eyes light up, and it makes a sound. And through this, we wanted to demonstrate the possibility for a new form of wire art, interactive electronic wire art. And this starling is what you would call an automaton. And automatons go way back in the history of Europe and the Middle East, as well as being imagined in other cultures as well around the world. The idea of a mechanical creature, you know, something that combines the attributes of a machine and an animal. So automatons were popular in the French court a few hundred years ago, for example. And they are part of what led to computing. Here's a STARLING 1.2. Here is a crested barbet that came a few years later. This is a praying mantis that was made by some UCT students in a class that I taught on African robots. And here's a little termite, or juru in Shona, which is a little robot ant that walks around and bumps into things and reverses. So those are a few examples of work we've made in the past 5 to 7 years. I'm going to direct your attention to a few particular examples. So this is the red owl made by Stickler and David in Durban. So I do workshops all over Southern Africa, in South Africa and in Mozambique and Zimbabwe. I've even been to Brazil and to South Korea and done African robots workshops there. And this is at the International Symposium of Electronic Arts in 2018. In which I worked with street wire artists in Durban. I go out in the street and I meet wire artists, introduce the project, and invite them to take part in funded workshops to produce work. So we decided to make an owl using these novelty glasses that I bought in Brazil that open their eyes and when you pull a string. But what we did is we made this owl open its eyes in response to dark. So if you run this video, when you shade the light sensor on the chest of the owl opens its eyes like an owl. Whoa. That's the noonday gun in Cape Town.
That's the little
daily
Just
occurrence.
Another day in Cape Town, yes.
Yeah. So this idea for this owl that opens its eyes in the dark led to an idea for a product. And this is what African Robots does, is it does a whole range of outputs, from workshops where wire artists learn the basics of electronics and how to make work, to product development, like so the ZZ nightlight. ZZ is Shona for owl, is a little owl based on the Scops owl, which is the world's smallest owl and is here in Southern Africa. And it has light up eyes and a reading light in its chest. You can see 2 images of it here. The one on the left from the front shows this little owl with marbles for eyes and light in its chest. And the marble eyes light up when the lights go out. And we're working on a solar-powered version at the moment. So on the right, you can see the wings of the owl have solar panels on them. And I'm working with the company Suntoy that makes the solar glass jar in order to produce this as a product that would employ wire artists in making them. One of the other wings of the project for African Robots, our sister project, is called SPACECRAFT. And SPACECRAFT is a science fiction themed wire art project. It's inspired by 1980s arcade games like this Star Wars game from 1986. And it's also inspired by the way that wire artists make versions of popular culture items. Like, for example, the Nemo fish, the clownfish from the Nemo movies, was a very popular wire art piece that sold well. So many wire artists started to make them. I just saw this a few days ago in Cape Town. It's a Black Panther mask made out of wire and beads. So I saw this on Church Street in Cape Town. So it's an example of how wire artists will depict things from popular culture, and they'll engage a market that's aware of these objects through the movies. So I thought, let me take the Star Wars movie series and make depictions of the spaceships in it. So here is our TF-01, our XW-01, and our MF-01, which are, you know, versions of science fiction spaceships made in very high definition wire art. And we are busy setting up an e-commerce site at the moment, SPACECRAFT.Africa, which is launching in about a week's time. So you'll be able to order your own spaceships from around the world, and these are made by master wire artists here in Cape Town, and it takes a day for each one to be made. We've done large-scale installations like this one in this photograph, which is in the entrance to an international corporation's offices in Cape Town. And this shows the battle for the Death Star. And this is just a still image showing wire artists working from CNC'd polystyrene templates to make this. So we work on all kinds of scales from tiny to large. And this next example I'm going to show you is our largest piece, Dubship 1 Black Star Liner. This is a monumental music-making sculpture that was installed in the Zeitz Museum of Contemporary African Art, very nearby us, in 2019. So it was up there for 4 months, hanging in the atrium of the museum. This is a video. So this is the sound of the sculpture. If you play this video, the sculpture is full of these little strikers that hit on objects inside the sculpture and make a sound. Here's another video. It's driven by a rotating oil drum with a pattern of holes, and the light coming through the holes activates the music. Here's one more video. The work plays on the history of dub music, the Jamaican music form that came from reggae. It uses a lot of echo and delay. And the work tells the story of the Black Star Line shipping company, which the political activist Marcus Garvey launched a century ago to take the descendants of African slaves back to Africa, was the intention of the project. And he is memorialized in dub music. So we made a spaceship sculpture as if seeking refuge on other planets. And right now we are busy designing a virtual reality world which contains the Dubship sculpture. It's called DigiDub Club is the name of the VR chat world. VR chat is a social virtual reality platform. So you can log in like you'd log into a website, and then you can meet other people in avatar form in these virtual reality environments. The platform is called VR Chat or VRC. And we are launching this next week Friday as part of the FNB Joburg Art Fair. And then this will be an online platform that you can visit the work. So with the experiences this year of the restrictions on social activity, there's a lot of interest in VRC as a platform that people can meet each other at a distance. And for example, if anybody's been watching the series Lovecraft Country, ooh. Yeah. They have a VR chat world where you can go and view artwork that's hosted in virtual reality, and nice. You can meet other people there. Yeah. So yeah, that's coming soon. So we constantly combine high technology and handcraft. So we use virtual reality, 3D modeling, along with hand wirecraft, and our whole sort of mission is to educate and collaborate and cross cultural, social, economic boundaries and technological boundaries, mix popular culture with fine art. We're all about hybridity and connecting. And this slide here, this shows you some of our social media handles. So you can find us on Instagram at African Robots, where we are telling the story of the project from 2013. So we've actually just posted on the STARLING, and we have another few years of projects to go through. SPACECRAFT.Africa is our Instagram account for that project. And at Ralph Borland is my own personal account where I also post my artwork. And you can also see our websites, africanrobots.net, SPACECRAFT.Africa, where you're going to be able to buy wire art spaceships soon, and RalphBorland.net, which catalogs my wider practice. So yeah, thank you very much. I hope that's been a story around African innovation for you. And yeah, please enjoy the other speakers and the rest of the conference. Thank you very much.
Wow. I'm kind of blown away over there, Rolf. That was incredible. I especially loved the Furby looking eyes. It looked like Furby eyes,
very much
right?
like a Furby.
They look like Furby. I'm a 90s kid, so
yes.
Furby was really big back in my day. That's really, really cool. I can't wait to try and see if I can join the virtual reality. That's really, really cool. That was really cool. If you have any questions for our speakers that have already spoken, from Jamila to Rolf, please pop them into the question section. And don't forget those hashtags. That's hashtag ODA2020. That's hashtag Open Day Africa with a K. And that's hashtag small is big. And of course, next up, we have the founder of Higher Bioplastics all the way from Uganda, Musunguzi. Please take it away for us.
Okay, hi everyone.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm very okay. How are you doing?
I'm very good. As you can see, it's very sunny over here in the mother city in Cape Town. So we're bringing the light for you. We're bringing the light.
Okay. So can you guys see my screen? Can see it?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So hi everyone, my name is Musunguzi Mark. I am the team lead of Higher Bioplastics, and we are a startup located in Kampala, Uganda, and we are creating biodegradable plastics from re-engineered plant fibers. So let me jump straight into it, just give you a brief background. So what we do is we convert water hyacinth and agricultural waste into biodegradable packaging. But we've not stopped at packaging only. We've been able to enter the jewelry and interior design industry through laser cutting patterns on the materials we've made. So in the right of the slide, you can be able to see some of the products that we have created. So how it all began in 2018.
Sorry, Musunguzi, to disturb you. Your video, we can't see you, unfortunately.
Oh, you can't see me.
Please help us out there. Yes, I think your video is off.
Okay, let me go to that.
Okay, fantastic. We're on track now.
Okay, so you can see my video now?
Yes, we can see you now.
Okay, okay. So let me just step back.
Here we go. Thank you, Musunguzi.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah?
No worries.
Okay. Yeah. But you can see the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. So that's basically what we do. We convert agricultural waste, water hyacinth into biodegradable packaging material. So let me jump straight into how it all began. In October 2018, while we're working on one of our startups, Wet Technique, whose primary focus was constructed wetlands for recycling wastewater. Primarily our objective was we had to find a way to minimize the effects of water pollution in the most cost-friendly way. So we kind of went towards nature-based technologies, and some of these include constructed wetlands. So this lasted 1 year. It was a research project, started off as a research project, and our key design aspect was aesthetics. So what we wanted to achieve was, can someone be able to have a wastewater treatment system in their backyard and it looks nice? And this is what we're able to achieve with our systems that we made. As you can see in the right of the slide, where we were using hostel reed. Hostel reed is a kind of a semi-aquatic plant that actually looks nice, and I'm sure most of you have used some of these in your compounds and multiple places. So with this came one of our most shocking discoveries. During one of our case study visits to Lake Albert, it's a lake bordering Uganda and DRC, DR Congo, we were primarily trying to investigate the effects of water pollution on these people living in the landing sites. But what we're able to find through actually an interview, there was a woman that we walked up to and were trying to give her to help. She was trying to help us answer some of the questions on our questionnaires regarding water pollution. Interestingly, she told us that yes, water pollution was a problem, but there was a bigger problem of water hyacinth that had directly affected their lives. It had affected the yields of fish that these people were able to get. It had basically reduced what they could earn, and in that instance, lowering their standards of living. So we set off from this place really affected by this. We saw that this was a problem that was affecting these people directly, and we had to use our skills to help them find a way to use that water hyacinth, which is a floating aquatic plant, in a sustainable way, and most importantly, help them supplement on their income. So the general problem is water hyacinth, it has a very high growth rate. It can double its height in about 3 weeks in very polluted waters, and it leads to complete blockage of waterways across Africa and across the world. It's basically synonymous with high water pollution. And most of us have interfaced with the plastic problem, with 37% of the plastic we use in developing countries disposed directly into the environment. Most of our food packaging that we use uses single-use oil-derived plastics. And these, due to the non-existent, they are existent, but they're not so efficient recycling systems in our developing countries. You end up having blocked channels, which is seen across major cities in Africa. Another thing we're trying to look at was how can we use or add value to agricultural plant-based waste? After you've grown maize or corn and you harvest the maize, normally what happens in a typical African setting is you cut off that dried plant and it's burnt. So our solution was a low-cost biodegradable packaging material that can use these applications, use these what we term as waste in a circular way and upcycle them, providing value to those who termed it as waste and also to us who are trying to produce a product that can be used in large quantities. So we have developed our patent pending process, and our product has significantly improved physical properties, including tensile stress, hydrophobicity. It can resist water for a certain period of time, and it has a good premium physical appearance. So if you look at the right of the slide, you can look at some of what we've been able to do. Those are some of the trays that we are currently selling. Next to that is a pattern we imprinted on one of our materials using laser cutting. So this is how we're trying to appeal to the interior design and jewelry industry. We've been able to make coasters as well. And currently our products are being used in high-end kind of premium restaurants. So our business model, what we're doing is we sell our trays each at $0.52 per tray, achieving a 50% profit margin per tray. But this margin comes because we are using locally sourced materials that are virtually considered as waste. We have a very short supply chain, and most importantly, we're able to customize our designs for the people who want to use our products. Just in Uganda, we have been able to carry out around 50 interviews, and from this, we've been able to size the market just in Kampala, with it being $1.2 million annually. And this is just from 30 to 40 high-end restaurants that we interviewed, who buy each of their packaging at $1.3. Their packagings are customized, including what we probably use in a Japanese restaurant for sushi. And this is double the price of our trays. And for the mid-range restaurants, such as KFC, to mention by a few, they have packaging that they use, which is directly similar in cost to ours, but less in terms of value. So our design journey, we have to really put this out to inspire all those who are watching that anything is really possible. So what you're seeing right here is our first prototype. This was in November 2019. What we used, most of us on our team, we're a team of 4, we're mechanical engineers. So we have been able to use our skills, trying to virtually do what we can with what we have around us, waste. So we were able to use old flat irons and DIY heating elements, basically anything we could get our hands on. And that was the first prototype we made in November 2019. So after this, we didn't give up. We had to find, because we had what we're looking at, what we wanted to make And this led us to using some other DIY do-it-yourself methods to make our own compression molding machine. And here we tested with different plant materials, and that was March 2019. And third prototype came in September, just this September 2020, that's an error. But here we were able to make our own DIY thermoforming machine, small-scale industrial process that's running our production currently. And those are the kind of trays that we've been able to make. So our progress, we started in October 2019. We started off as a research group. And most importantly, we were able to get the right mentorship, including some of our judges in a competition that we won, including Mike Warner, who's the lead for circular economy at Google. We're able to prototype, as you've seen in the pictures, raise funding, and most importantly, in September, we were able to get our minimum viable prototype and achieve our first sales of our higher bioplates. We're currently trying to patent our process and see ways of scaling. So the partners we've gotten over this long run include Makerere University, the lead research institution in East Africa. Motive, it's a makerspace here in Kampala. That's where we're currently located. It has availed us with space, and we're in a community of makers, people who are doing things that you didn't know are possible in Africa. So this has ensured that we can be able to be with like-minded people, have early and easy access to market, and get the right networks. So cost comparison, I've been able to go through this. Our product is currently more expensive than the low-cost alternatives, but we believe by economies of scale and optimization of our process, we can be able to bring it down so that we can as well target the mid-range restaurants. Our competitive advantage is we are giving value to what normally we in Africa consider as waste. And we have been able to find out that the market here in Uganda is trying to adjust towards sustainable, eco-friendly packaging. And this has given us a drive because we believe the market is there as well. So we are not the first in the world to do this. There are some companies that, such as Biolutions, that has been able to make such kinds of packaging, as you can see in the image. They're a leading company based in Germany, and they've been able to raise 8.3 million euros and are currently situated in India. They have a system where they are collecting waste from sugarcane growers and maize growers in India. And these people, we have been in contact with them. They've provided us with mentorship and some guidance. And this has also helped us to believe that what we're driving at, which is sustainable packaging across Africa, is actually possible because they have been able to do something similar in India, but with a different process. So our achievements, we were able to win the Wege Prize, a circular economy-based competition this year, as well as Event for the Planet, Future for the Planet competition hosted by Texas A&M University. We reached third place globally, and these were able to give us some mentorship and also, most importantly, belief that we could be able to achieve what we're doing. I'll end it off with a simple quote from William Blake, that what is now proved was once only imagined. This has given us the strength and has pushed us, as you can see, in just this year with these phenomenal achievements and entering the market, it has pushed us. So thank you all. Those are my Ngiyabonga, Asante, Juyoilo, Danki. I think I've said Danki in everything. Those are our contacts right there. Feel free to reach us. We're looking for partnerships that can help us push our idea to and small-scale production to the next level. Networks that can help provide technical advice, and basically anyone who is interested in materials and sustainability across Africa. Thank you so much.
Wow, amazing. That was absolutely incredible. Ngiyabonga nam Msunguzi. That's absolutely incredible how you've innovated from a year. I mean, you said 2019, this kind of started. It's incredible what you've achieved in the past year. Congratulations. This is absolutely incredible. I think it's incredible, what can happen when you join a design and technology, and obviously your skills as a mechanical engineer play a very big role, and your innovation to actually want to feed into the ecosystem, because this is all about our ecosystems and driving into those ecosystems and really planting those seeds in communities. And so the work that you have done, you and your team have done, is absolutely incredible. I'm highly impressed. Please contact Msunguzi should you need to for any help, etc. If you have any questions for any of our guests during the session, please let us know. I see there are a few comments that we have that I currently can't read. Tech team, if you could please assist me. Again, if there's any questions, I just see there's comments so far. Thank you, that was awesome. Great presentation so far. Very interesting presentations. I definitely agree with all of these, all of these comments. These presentations today have been really, really incredible. I'll give it another maybe 30 seconds to see if anybody has any questions. Oh, okay. If there's no questions for today, thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget those hashtags. Please go on your socials and just hashtag Open Day Africa with a K, Open Day 2020. Thank you so much for joining us, and we invite you to please stick around and enjoy our entertainment break while you listen to the Isibane Afrika choir group from Cape Town. If you have signed up for the virtual coffee sessions with the previous speakers, please make sure you make your way to the speakers virtual room, which will start at promptly 12:45. A reminder to use the provided Zoom link when you booked your virtual session with as well. Please again remember to hashtag the Open Design Africa and use our official hashtags when you share on social media, and that's hashtag ODA2020, that's hashtag Open Design Africa, and that is hashtag small is massive. We will be back at 1:20 to introduce the next speakers for session 3. Thank you for joining us today.